Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Cipher Session. I am Manolo Borgia, the Abundant Alchemist.
I'm Yo.
And here we are. Another day. It's Thursday, the 24th of February, 2022. And wow, a lot to talk about.
Surreal.
So first off, I think it would be right to just say that our thoughts and our prayers are with the people in Ukraine and Russia, both, because I think people on both sides are being affected. To everybody that's watching who may have friends and family out there, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Unfortunately, there's always, even in negative times, there's ways to make money off of that, and I much rather make money in other ways, but like I'm into making money in the markets, not necessarily off of somebody else's pain. That's just the way that it is. The markets revolve around world events.
And that's the thing that, unfortunately, this affects crypto. So, we vowed to cover crypto. So here we are. We also
Mhm.
don't have Enrique today. He's off
Yeah,
doing some family stuff. So,
having a good family time. So
yeah.
we're holding it down for you, Enrique.
Yep.
Enjoy that family
Absolutely.
time. And yeah, we have a lot of stuff to cover. But I think maybe we could get the elephant in the room out of the way. Clearly, Ukraine seems to be being taken over by Russia, and that's affected the markets. I'm sure if you're watching this right now, you're completely aware of it. Woke up to the markets being affected drastically. Everything was down, and we saw a bounce, which really surprised me. At one point today, Bitcoin was at 39K, which really surprised me. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to cover the charts. We're going to talk about my opinions before, because, and a lot of people may say, Manolo, you're flip flop. You're going from one to the other, and then I'll cover that. But I want to address it.
All right. You want to get into the charts?
Sure. Yeah. Let's get into it.
All righty. 1 second.
So
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
And today's show is going to just be kind of,
Hey,
freestyle.
I think we could all agree that we could all use maybe a drink. It's an
Absolutely.
informal day today. A lot of things are going on, but as tired as we may be, the show is going on. This here is the weekly chart, I believe. Yes. So this is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. And as you could see, we have support that has held us at the 100-week moving average. We currently are seeing a higher low. So both in the weekly and on the daily, let's just talk about the weekly for now. If we could end this week a little higher than that low weekly candle that you see above the word moving, that sort of gives us a little bit of hope, right? Right above the word moving is that lower wick that the Bitcoin fell below, and now we are currently at about 38,000. So that shows that at least, although it's gone down, it hasn't fallen below that level. What I would personally like to see in the next coming weeks to confirm that we are continuing the bullish sentiment is to get above the 50-week moving average, which is the red line. So just about $45,000. And as the weeks continue, that 21-week moving average, which is the green line, and the 50-week moving average are going to start kind of converging at that point as time passes. So that's just, my take on it. We're also going to review an article from a crypto expert and what he has to say. But let's take a look at the daily here. So this is the daily chart, and let's just start from left to right. Right, somewhere along was it January 24th? That's when we saw a daily low that got to about $33,000. You see that wick going through the word daily. That wick shows support of buyers buying up all the people who are selling their Bitcoin. And then we continued upwards. That purple box is a huge line of support that we did enter into today. And we've made a higher low. So it's sort of like we've been going up on a sort of a slant, although we dipped low today because of the events that have affected world markets. And if you may or may not know, world markets do still have an effect on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still correlated with markets like the S&P 500, NASDAQ, equities. And so we're playing between these levels that you see in the gray lines, about 34,400 and 39,800. So on the daily, I would really like to get above that 21-week average, that green line, above 40 at least, that, in the next coming days. I think 38 is pretty crucial to hold right now. The good thing that I'm seeing looking at this, you kind of see that at this level that we've been on, it's been red, green, right? Whenever I notice that there is two green candles sandwiching a red candle, that kind of makes me feel a little bit more bullish than if there's two red candles sandwiching a green candle, right? The thing to notice here is that on this daily candle that we are currently experiencing, it's almost like a spinning top. So there seems to be indecision, because you see that wick that crosses the B on the word bottom. That means that there were a whole lot of sellers, but then there were a whole lot of buyers to serve as support. But just the same on the flip side, there were a whole lot of buyers, and there were also a whole lot of sellers that said, I don't want this, or I'm going to take profits, right? So that's pretty much, what I have for you there. I personally, I exited a couple of days ago, Friday, before the long 3-day weekend, at about 39,605 from Bitcoin and all my other altcoins, because this is what I do. I don't have a day job. So if I see a signal, 3-day weekend, especially with equities, I had some stocks that I was holding on to, and I said, no, I'm not going to hold on to it for 3 days. I don't know what may happen. And then we saw what happened with Ukraine just last night. But today, it's a bit of a different story. I saw that although we did fall down, we got a certain level of a floor support. And I said, you know what? I'm going to begin to get into the crypto market. And this was at about 4 a.m. I woke up because I was shorting Ethereum and Gala. And I followed my rules of not being greedy, and I took profits on that short. Lucky that I did, because if I thought that the crypto markets were burning to the ground and I'm going to be rich just off of this one move, I would have missed out on those gains, kicking myself and upset because I'd actually be losing money now that it seems there's some form of recovery. So, yeah, that's
I also saw a story where they were saying how typically when an invasion happens, again, I didn't fact check this, but apparently, the invasion happens, the markets tank,
mhm.
and then they start to climb up and kind of skyrocket. Do
Yeah.
you have any
Uh,
insight on that?
yeah, actually, I'm a fan of Alex Becker. He's a software engineer, heavy into gaming. You guys could follow him on Twitter. He's quite funny. He has a dry sense of humor. I enjoy him. But he put up a picture of numerous times throughout history where, like, right after some form of war event or a takeover happens, it seems to signal the bottom or recovery in the market. So it seems like
I
that's
actually
the way
have
that
that.
it.
Let me put it up for you guys. Yeah, man, it's tough because, like you said, man, uh, it's a sensitive moment. We feel for all those soldiers and all those civilians,
Mhm. There's
but
real lives, real people being affected, real families feeling the pain. And I mean, we don't help them any by not making any money, right?
yeah,
But it's also, it kind of reminds me of The Big Short, where these two young men made a whole lot of money shorting the real estate market, and the older man, played by Brad Pitt, was like, "What are you guys doing? You're celebrating. Okay, I get that you made a lot of money, but real people are losing their homes right now and are in pain." So,
yeah, absolutely.
so yeah, look,
But that's
Vietnam
pretty
War.
much the chart here. Yeah. So if you see
Mhm.
all these, this blue is by the, it's kind of what they're saying by the invasion. You see the dip, and then it just starts. And again,
Big.
I physically didn't fact check this. This is just something I ran into. So, not financial advice, but this is apparently what people are saying.
Hmm. Hmm. And I'd like to, you know, add to that. I'm a big fan of Gregory Mannarino. Let's kind of not be deceived um, with what's going on in Russia, as far as that being the reason why we're experiencing inflation. We all know why we're in crypto and Bitcoin. It's because we can't print or create more Satoshis, more Bitcoins out of thin air and manipulate that currency. It's like a hard asset, much like or similar to silver and real gold. Unless you mine for silver and gold, you can't derive any more of that from the ground. But you cannot even do that with Bitcoin. Once all the Bitcoins are mined, that will be it. And that's what makes Bitcoin so special. And unfortunately, that's not what's going on with our dollar right now. And if you connect all the dots, the stock market is sort of like a twilight zone. It should have corrected very much so for a long time. And it seems that every time that there is some form of correction due, some kind of some kind of event ends up happening. And it could sound a little bit conspiracy theorish for many, but
We call
do
them
your own
Trumors.
research. Trumors,
Trumors.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, on that note, talking about crypto and Bitcoin, you saw those videos, man, of like people in the Ukraine lined up to try to use the ATM, and it's tough, man. It's those ATMs are gonna run out of money, and that's another thing. Again, not financial advice, but this is why Bitcoin and crypto in general is valuable, man, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to access a machine. You can do it on your phone, off a computer, and in situations like that, it's easy to be mobile with. But
Right.
it's
Yeah.
tough.
And I want to add something to that. So, like, I definitely am not about spreading fear or making people panic. But if you do something, at least do something to kind of prepare so that in the event of something going very wrong, your nerves will kind of be settled because you have certain things in places. So, Not financial advice. I'm just kind of spreading the word of being prepared. And at worst, you have some things that you may use anyway. So, for instance, in my case, I do have a lot of silver. I do have, extra cans, extra rice. Um, I even have bullets. These are practice bullets, but I live in a
Yeah.
state that is pro gun, and if you could legally um, have these things to defend yourself and your family, sort of like insurance, you don't hope that your car gets into some kind of crash so that you could make money off of it. But it feels a whole lot better if you are in a wreck that you do have insurance, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm telling this to my family, to my in-laws, and just be aware of what's going on, because there's a whole lot of talks of supply chain issues. There's a whole lot of talks of inflation. There's a whole lot of talks back and forth about the grid going down. So maybe it's wise to buy a flashlight or two, buy some extra batteries, buy some extra cans of food if you can. We understand like not everybody could just have a bunker created, in the next
Absolutely.
couple of months. If you can, go for it. But
Yeah.
I just want to add that because I think it would be foolish to act as if these times are not weird times and volatile times. And so, besides Bitcoin, I think these are other things that we could all do to kind of prepare ourselves for a worst case scenario. And if things don't go that way, perfect.
All the better. It's the Boy Scout motto: be prepared.
Troop
That's it, Dave.
454.
Be
Shout outs
prepared.
to all my Boy Scouts.
And even with that, again, not that we're trying to spread fear, but this is real life situations. Like, what happened in Ukraine with the ATMs that we were talking about happened in Greece when their whole financial crisis. People couldn't take money out.
Right.
So it's not so much, we're just trying to educate you guys. With that said, there's also always the scenario of cyber attacks. Make sure you get a ledger.
Yes.
Keep your crypto in a ledger. If you
Hmm.
can't afford it, also maybe a VPN just to kind of
Right.
help. And there's also UB keys. It's like a little thumb drive you stick in the computer, and you put in like your Coinbase username and password, and you need that to access it. So no one can access your Coinbase account without that key. So these are just little things that they're not really expensive. If you're buying crypto, a $70 ledger or a $40 UB key, or even $3 VPN a month, it's really just more layers of protection.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, like, we see these technologies, they're here to stay.
Yeah.
We have countries that are investing into crypto, these companies that are pivoting and becoming more crypto centric. Like, this stuff is here to stay. Last week you could have possibly heard me saying that, I was bearish and or bullish, like you have to be ready to pivot. But all in all, if you could see where we're heading, it may be wise to begin to stack a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of your favorite cryptos for the long run, because this is technology.
Yeah. And it's not going anywhere.
It's no,
Yeah.
much like uh, the tech space in the early 90s. Yeah, maybe some coins won't be around in the long run, but there are some, maybe the top 10, Bitcoin, Chainlink, for example, that you may want to go a little more heavy on and always kind of mitigate risk, spread it out. Don't go all in on, my cousin's cousin told me that
Yeah.
this thing is going to go from 1 penny to $1.50 in 1 year, and so I'm going to mortgage my house and work overtime to put it all into this thing. That's not the way to go.
No,
Not at all.
absolutely not.
All right. So let's get into some
I think you're gonna
current
run the
events.
news today,
The
right?
news?
You have
Okay,
some.
yes. So the first, I'll switch over here to, are we showing them the article or can I just,
I don't know. I think you could just go ahead and
I'll go ahead. All right.
yeah.
Hopefully my eyes are kind of at level so it doesn't look like, but so this is CNBC talking about crypto companies being tempted, uh, crypto companies tempting top talent away from big tech in order to build Web3. So I'm gonna, cover this briefly. This came out yesterday. Crypto companies like Polygon and Circle are hiring top talent from big tech firms, enticing them with the pitch of working on the next big thing in tech, which is Web3. Tech executives are being drawn to the crypto industry due to its rapid growth and lucrative compensation packages, according to experts. And we see this going on in particular with companies like Apple, right, and Facebook, taking a lot of these tech experts into this crypto-centric company like Meta. So it says here executives at tech giants like Google, Facebook, and Amazon, so even Facebook, are
Oh,
quitting to
absolutely.
take jobs in the buzzy world of crypto. I'm going to touch upon a couple of extra points here. Blockchain platforms such as Polygon and Circle have hired top talent from big firms lately, enticing them. Ryan Wyatt left YouTube earlier this month to lead a new gaming studio from Polygon. I'm personally very bullish on the gaming sector. I did buy back into Gala Games, which is one of the game crypto companies that has AAA star rating games from pre-crypto, and they've hired a lot of talent into their staff. Somebody said here, I look at this opportunity very much the same way, describing the current stage of blockchain development as early and exciting. Let's see. The buzz surrounding Web3 attracted some of the brightest minds in tech. The Web3 movement proposes overhauling the internet in a way that would move popular online services over to decentralized technologies like blockchain. David Marcus tweeted, I've never felt this connected to a community of builders like the crypto Web3. One, I'm not talking about folks who are in it for a quick speculative win, talking about people who want to rebuild the internet's infrastructure to move value and power in the hands of people. So
You
that's
know, it's
pretty
crazy, dude. That I have a friend who works for a major network, and she told me last week that she had a coworker who left to work for Chainlink. So
wow.
that's pretty serious.
Wow, yeah. And speaking of Chainlink, they're currently working on some. It sounded like TCP/IP. It's ICC something. It was a paper that I was reading on them and how they're working on creating the model that will be able to communicate between different blockchains. So that's
Yeah, it's huge, dude.
something.
And they're leading the charge with that stuff. So
Mhm.
you know, wouldn't be not financial advice, but you should definitely look into maybe
Yeah,
acquire some
learn a
chain.
little about
Yeah,
Chainlink, and if
the
you're
Link Marines
intrigued
or Marine.
enough. And so, all right, we have another story here from CNBC-TV18.com. U.S. President Joe Biden likely to issue executive order on crypto policy this week. So a lot of
That
things
was a
going on.
big one, big
Um,
news this week.
mhm. And he's expected to issue an executive order on cryptocurrency this week, reported Yahoo Finance. The order will reportedly commission a study into the central bank digital currency or the digital dollar, which the US is currently working on. So people, they're pretty much telling you, what's coming, right? And I'm not sure, and this is me talking, not the article, but I'm not sure what their plans are on how they're going to handle CBDCs. But I would expect them to handle it no different than they do fiat. And so if I am currently in a system that's been played with so much to the point where we have printed about, it was a ridiculous number. What was it, like 80% of the circulating paper money
Yeah, it was
in the
either 75 or
last
80.
like 2 years or what,
Yeah.
6 months?
Mm-hmm.
It was some
It was
crazy
like that.
short amount of time and some humongous amount of percentage in the total amount of money that we have. Why would we expect them to do any different with a central backed digital currency? That's the minimum that we could expect from them. We know that they listen to us via any means of communications that they have the ability to. It's just a fact. This is why Ed Snowden is sought after and they want to put him under the jail, right? So this is not a conspiracy theory. This is what's literally going on in the world. Why would they not just devalue that CBDC, but they are very, very likely going to monitor every little thing that you do. And if we could look at China as kind of a blueprint of what maybe the US may look to in order to control their people, China's using this weird credit system of people who fall in line and do what we tell them get compensated.
They get the carrot.
They get the carrot. And so, I heavily digress, but I think that's just a point worth mentioning. So back to the story. United States President Joe Biden expected to issue an executive order on cryptocurrency policy this week. The order will reportedly commission a study into the central bank digital currency that the U.S. is working on. They're going to look into risks associated with cryptocurrency, such as environmental impact, financial stability issues, payment system hurdles, among other things. News of this executive order comes fresh off the heels of Federal Reserve report that detailed the impacts of the CBDC on the economy. And the forthcoming directive will commission several federal agencies to assess the impact of crypto and CBDC further. So who knows for sure if this will be bullish or bearish news.
It had
Maybe
Janet yelling, so it had Janet yelling. So I think it's good. Did you hear she got pissed off?
Really?
About how yeah, apparently. Yeah.
I did not. Okay, so that makes me happy.
There you go.
That actually makes me happy because, I think whatever, even if it would turn bearish, I think that would be in a short term. And that reminds me actually what's going on on the federal level, right, of people who work for the Federal Reserve. They're not allowed to buy into equities anymore, right? So that makes me think that maybe not tomorrow. I don't believe that the stock market is going to crash in anytime soon because of how it's manipulated with this money printing. But they just showed them the exit sign.
Mm-hmm.
Time to cash out, get out of the casino. Maybe the casino won't lose electricity in the next coming minutes, but it may come, and whoever stuck their money into the casino when the lights go off, so does their money. Not financial advice. I do think that there's a lot of money to still be made in the casino. Excuse me, the stock market. I still think that there's a lot of money to be made, and I'm helping.
Especially if you're a politician, dude.
Especially if you're a politician, it's like almost they have like a side hustle. Like
they pick the best winners, dude.
They have like spider senses that just tell them exactly when to sell and when to buy. It's very interesting.
And guys, we're joking half the time. We're not trying to get political, but we're trying to bring some humor to the show.
Exactly. And so the executive order will also detail measures to protect individual investors, consumers, businesses from cryptocurrency risks. the Treasury will work with the SEC and Commodities Futures and Trading Commission to develop a report detailing protective measures against cryptocurrency risks. So it seems like we are on the verge of getting some form of clarity and rules. So I think the government is kind of taking all this stuff fairly serious, and they understand that this stuff is here to stay. And that's one more further sign of where we should kind of be digging our heels into and getting acquainted with this technology and what's going on.
We didn't come this close to come this close. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, what else you got for us, Manolo? I think we got one more, right?
We got one more, and so this is looping back to the technicals. This is from finbold.com. Crypto expert identifies Bitcoin's key level to flip for bullish continuation. So let's kind of merge this with what I just told you guys on the charts. Expert Michael Van de Pope, who I've spoken about in earlier shows with Cipher session, Bitcoin must break over resistance in the 39,400 to 39,500 zone. So let's just say let's get to 40 grand in order to continue its upward trend. As long as Bitcoin can convert this level into support, Pop feels that continuation is confirmed, which may result in the asset returning to 46,000, where it was trading only a few weeks ago. And Bitcoin is trading in a support zone, says Van de Pope. As Bitcoin attempts to reestablish that important level of resistance, Pope stressed that rejection at the 39,500 level would serve as an impetus for the price action of the flagship digital currency to decline. So let's keep an eye on that level. I'm not sure what I just said earlier when I was looking at the charts, but I think that I said that we kind of have to get over that $40,000 level.
And like you said, man, it bounced back. So
So it shows a whole lot of people because we have to remember, before anybody saw this dip coming, there's certain psychological levels that maybe somebody like you or I would say, I'm going to put a limit order in case this thing falls to say 34, 35 at 2 a.m. when I'm asleep. I'm going to buy this amount of Bitcoin, right? And so I think a lot of people had these levels already considered. Like, if it goes down to these levels, there were a lot of buyers waiting for there. We have a lot of support, and I was impressed. We saw Bitcoin spike to, like I said, 39,000, and not even Bitcoin, but because we have to remember that Bitcoin still is correlated with the stock market. So looking at what happened with the stock market, I was really impressed that with everything going on in the world, and this ties back to that picture of Alex Becker, we saw a spike up pretty quick, even with this fearful news hitting the world stage. So very, very interesting. Almost glad to know that Bitcoin is correlated still with the stock market, but it's going to come a day where it's going to
break away,
and it's going to need to.
Yep, absolutely. So I think that's all for today, man. It's been a weird one, I hope everyone's out there doing well. I hope you guys finding out a way to stay sane in these troubled times. Hopefully you guys continue to tune in and get some vital information from us.
Yes, sir. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below. And until next time,
See.
Cipher session out.